Hey YouTube, really quick review on a product I got recently for Christmas. The Sawvivor saw by Trailblazer Products here in Canada. An excellent saw for the money. Arguably the lightest and best saw you can get for the money. A couple quick observations. First and foremost, this saw is extremely light. This is the lightest saw I've picked up. I've tried a few different saws. The closest I've come to this is the Fisker's hand saw, which is, for better or worse, really a pruning saw, not geared towards survival or outdoor work, but suffices to say it can still cut branches and arguably some type of logs. How thick, I'm not sure. Point being, that's about as light as you can get compared to this. Initial impression on build quality, it is extremely rigid. I was very happy with it. I was somewhat questioning the rivet system here and how well that would hold up. As you know, if rivets get loose, you can't tighten them. But it seems very rigid. It doesn't give me any reason to believe that it would flex. One of the negative things I picked up on when I first got this saw was that because these appear to be stamped pieces of aluminum, there's a ridge on the aluminum which is somewhat sharp. And in seeing that now, I regret not getting the pack for the saw, the sleeve, the bag, the pouch, whatever you want to call it. I somewhat regret not getting it, and I may cycle back and pick it up. Beyond that, the only other critical observation I had, at least initially, was that with the saw blades being tucked away in here, they appeared to be somewhat difficult to get out. And I was pleasantly surprised when I went to open the saw that as you open the arms, it pushes the blade out. So, easy enough to get out, easy enough to put back in, folds back up, you open the saw up, pops the blade out for you. The one caveat being, if the blade is reverse and the notches are facing the bottom, it actually catches inside and won't push the saw blade out. But suffice it to say, a pretty slick design. I don't know if that's by design or if it's in fact just something inherent to the way they built this thing. Regardless, it comes out. No need to pick in there with your fingers and scratch yourself up, cut yourself. Works flawlessly. Again, once the saw is in its correct form, extremely rigid. I feel no to very little flex actually in it. Quite impressed with that. The only other minor gripe I had, and I don't know if this can be improved upon, I really don't know to what extent it's actually a valid concern, but aside from the foam materials, the only questionable material is this red piece right here, which is used to tighten the saw blade. Ostensibly, that's just a bolt in there and a hex head underneath with a plastic cover on top for grip. Simply because the nub here, or the thumb portion, whatever you want to call it, appears that may break off in time. I don't know, but to me it seems like the one weak link in this entire setup. If anything, I would have liked to see a metal piece here, same type of design, simply metal, whether it could have been welded onto the bolt or they could have had custom bolts made. Seems to me at least that they could have improved upon that, because what happens if this breaks off, if you've only got a hex head here, short of having a Leatherman tool with you, i.e. a pair of pliers, I don't know how you would tighten this enough to draw the saw blade tight enough and taut enough to actually work properly without flexing or popping the saw blade off. So something I think they really need to focus on. Other than that, a beautiful saw, extremely lightweight. I'm not going to go into putting the thing together and using it. There's plenty of videos for that. This is simply a review of the current form 2012 of how this saw looks, its build quality. Overall, very impressed. The only other thing I could add to this is that if you're buying the saw, consider buying another blade right away. As I've seen on a few videos, you can fit a number of blades down this chute where the blades are stored. I don't know how many can fit in there. I have not put more than the 2 in there, and frankly, if you need more than 2 in there, stands to reason you're not using the saw properly and breaking them. I don't know how you would do that, but buy another one up front. They're not expensive. I bought my stuff at Mountain Equipment Co-op here in Canada. May want to consider the case for it, if not because of the rough edges around the stamping. It may just conceal it a little bit better, keep things from catching on it when it's in your pack, keep this thing from opening up, just makes things a little bit neater. I'm not sure if the pack or the sleeve has a belt loop on it or how it's carried. I vaguely remember looking at it on the site, but something you may want to consider buying up front, especially if you're paying for shipping from wherever you're buying it from. Easier to buy it all at once. Overall, very impressed. Good Canadian company, solid Swedish made product. Take a look at your store, see what you can get them for. Overall, a really worthwhile investment. If you can find them cheap, buy one. Best saws out there. Thanks for watching.